On the afternoon of November 24, 1971, a man boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon, bound for Seattle, Washington. He was calm, polite, and well-dressed in a dark suit and tie, carrying a briefcase and a small paper bag. He was described as middle-aged, around 5 feet 10, about 180 pounds, with dark hair and glasses. No one suspected that this ordinary-looking passenger would soon pull off one of the most daring and mysterious crimes in American history. Shortly after takeoff, the man handed a note to a flight attendant. The note warned that he had a bomb in his briefcase and demanded $200,000 in cash for parachutes and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle for refueling. The crew and passengers thought it might be a joke, but the man's serious demeanor quickly confirmed the threat was real. Captain William Scott was informed and immediately complied. The plane circled over the Puget Sound while authorities scrambled to gather the ransom money and the requested parachutes. The FBI was called in, though the hijacker, who would soon be nicknamed D.B. Cooper, remained calm and collected throughout. Once the plane landed at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, the ransom and parachutes were delivered. Cooper released the 36 passengers in exchange, but kept several crew members on board. With money and equipment in hand, he ordered the plane to take off again, heading toward Mexico City at a low altitude with the rear stairway lowered. Somewhere over the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, somewhere in the darkness and cold of the night, D.B. Cooper did something that stunned everyone. He jumped. He disappeared into the stormy skies, parachuting into the unknown wilderness below, and was never seen again. The FBI launched one of the longest and most exhaustive manhunts in U.S. history. They analyzed every scrap of evidence. They interviewed passengers and crew. They examined the ransom bills. The man had paid carefully. The serial numbers on the bills were recorded, and millions of dollars in the ransom were never found again. The search covered rugged terrain, dense forests, steep mountains, and wild rivers in Washington and Oregon. Hundreds of agents combed the wilderness, but found no sign of Cooper. His body was never recovered. His parachutes and gear vanished. It was as if he had simply disappeared into thin air. The FBI quickly realized they were chasing a ghost. Over the years, dozens of suspects emerged. Some were dead ends, others tantalizing near misses. Many were conspiracy theories: an Army veteran, a disgruntled pilot, an expert parachutist, even an ex-con with a grudge. One of the most famous suspects was Richard Floyd McCoy, Vietnam veteran who hijacked a plane just months later in 1972 with a similar parachute escape. But McCoy was caught and convicted, and the FBI cleared him of being Cooper. Another was Kenneth Christensen, a Northwest Airlines employee with parachuting skills. But he died before the investigation concluded. The mystery deepened when, in 1980, a young boy digging on the banks of the Columbia River discovered a decaying package buried in the sand. Inside were several $1,000s of the ransom money, a small portion of the $200,000 Cooper had demanded. The discovery proved Cooper had landed somewhere near the river, baffled investigators because the money was found far downstream from the suspected drop zone. If Cooper had survived, how did he evade capture in such a harsh environment? If he died in the fall or soon after, where was his body? No trace of him was ever found. No personal items, no parachute. Speculation continues to this day. Some believe Cooper was a professional skydiver, trained in the military, who meticulously planned the hijacking and escape. Others think he perished in the jump, his body swallowed by the wilderness. Some say he lived quietly under a new identity, never drawing attention to himself. The FBI kept the case open for nearly 45 years, officially closing the active investigation in 2016. But the legend of D.B. Cooper lives on in popular culture, in movies, books, podcasts, and countless amateur detectives' dreams. Despite decades of investigation, Skyjacker's true identity and fate remain one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. The story of D.B. Cooper is not just a crime story. It's a tale of audacity, mystery, and vanishing into the unknown. The man who hijacked a plane, demanded a ransom, jumped into the night, and became a ghost legend forever.